A football podcast for football fans by football guys. Welcome to the End Zone Experts.
Welcome to the End Zone Experts. We are your go-to podcast for all things NFL. I am Chris Knowles. And folks, we are in the thick of it. March 10th, 2025, the unofficial start of the NFL free agency madness. The legal tampering window opened up at noon today, and the deals are already flying left and right. It's like Christmas morning for football fans, only with more contracts and fewer presents under the tree. Today, we're diving into the biggest move so far, what they mean for the 2025 season, and a look at some of the top players still on the market. Let's buckle up. Free agency frenzy day one. Let's get into it. All right. Let's start with the blockbuster that's got everyone buzzing. The New York Jets have made a big splash. They finally got them a quarterback by signing free agent quarterback Justin Fields to a 2-year, $50 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. This news broke earlier today from the New York Post, and it's a game changer for the Jets team, desperate for stability under center. Fields is still just 26 years old, and is definitely the favorite and will be the starter in New York in 2025. Why this really matters is, Fields brings mobility, arm strength, and a familiarity with star wideout Garrett Wilson. Those two used to play at Ohio State back in the day. Pair that with Breece Hall in the backfield and a bolstered offensive line, and the Jets finally have something cooking. But here's the kicker. The deal structure suggests that they're not fully locked in long-term. Could still draft a quarterback next month. It's unlikely at pick number 7, but the move keeps the rumor mill churning. I really do like this move for Justin Fields and the Jets. I really like Aaron Glenn there. I think Fields being at his age, I think the Jets have done a decent job at drafting and building them a young core. I think it hit a little bump in the road by signing guys like Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, or trading for Davante Adams. I think now that you've got both of those guys cleared out of there, that headache is gone. You've got a good coach. You've got stability now. I really like I think the Jets got back on track this offseason so far. And it's just day one. We still have tomorrow, Wednesday. A lot of things can move for the Jets, but I'm a fan so far. Next up, we've got some seismic action out of Seattle. Obviously, everyone's buzzing about that quarterback there, Sam Darnold, getting paid, which can only mean one thing. The Seahawks have replaced Geno Smith. Darnold threw 35 touchdowns in 2024. He led the NFL in deep ball completions, and he's still 27. He's still kind of hitting his prime a little bit. Seattle's been searching for a quarterback post Geno Smith, and their answer is obviously Sam Darnold. I'd have to look up some contracts specifications. I don't have them in front of me, but it feels like a statement from the Seahawks that they're still trying to be competitive, still having Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith and Jigba there. They're going to try and be competitive in that NFC West. There's no doubt about it. Is Sam Darnold going to be enough to take him over the hump? Well, we don't know that yet, but I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. But it's interesting to say the least. And much like the Jets, there's still, more time in free agency. They also have the draft coming up. So Seattle's going to be an interesting team to watch for sure. we can't sleep on the trade market either today. One of my, obviously, if you all don't know, I'm a huge Houston Texans fan. Laremy Tunsil, one of the league's top left tackles, is reportedly heading to Washington. The Commanders made a splash today, landing the fourth most valuable left tackle from last season per Pro Football Focus PFF. This is really huge for the Commanders as they're looking to protect their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. And it signals that they are truly not messing around in 2025. I do like this move for both teams. And I'll explain. Obviously, the Commanders are in a win now mode. I think they've obviously, going out and getting Deebo Samuels and Marshawn Lattimore and now Laremy Tunsil. That is a different franchise, and good for them. Good for them. They deserve it. I think Washington is going to be a great team next year. On the flip side, my Houston Texans shedding cap space. I thought it was a good move considering that Laremy Tunsil is 30 years old. He also was one of the most penalized left tackles in the NFL last season. You also needed to make this move because next year you're going to have Derek Stingley, Will Anderson, and C.J. Stroud all up for Derek Stingley will need a new contract, but Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud are up for they're eligible for an extension. So you can't pay everybody, unfortunately. That's just the way this goes. And you're not going to let Stroud, Anderson, or Stingley, three pillars to that team in Houston, go. And unfortunately, I as much as it's not good to let Tunsil go, considering the offensive line problems Houston had last year, I get that. But unfortunately, if it were up to me, I'm letting Tunsil go, or I'm glad they traded, I should say. I'm not letting go of Stingley, C.J. Stroud, or Will Anderson. Those guys are pillars. I know left tackles are not easy to find, but neither are cornerbacks. Lord knows quarterbacks are not either. Defensive backs are not. And having a guy like Will Anderson, those typical players don't grow on trees. So I really did like this move for Houston. It's okay. I know people are going to freak out a little bit, but it's okay. Let Houston cook. I fully trust in Nick Caserio. The Texans have done great things the last few years under him and D'Amico. They know what they're doing. I feel fine with it. Elsewhere, the Chiefs locked up linebacker Nick Bolton before he hit the open market. That was a really smart move there. Nick Bolton was 25 years old. He's a tackling machine, and with teams trending back towards the run game, he's kind of a perfect fit. The Vikings also kept Aaron Jones yesterday. Per NFL's official update, continuity is king for Minnesota, and those re-signings signal they're doubling down on a playoff push. You also have to give a huge shout out to Cleveland. Myles Garrett, he isn't going anywhere. There was a little bit of rumors that he might get traded or he wanted out. Those apparently were not true, and he's staying in Cleveland. Kind of interesting because I think Myles Garrett, I think he's going to be trapped in Cleveland. I wish Myles Garrett all the luck, and I don't know if he'll ever sniff a Super Bowl in Cleveland, but at least he's going to be rich while playing football. So that's not a bad thing. Same goes for Max Crosby in Vegas. Stability up front for both squads is important. So I definitely understand it, but if the rumors were true that he was wanting out, I don't know. I think I would have probably wanted to get out of Cleveland and try to test the waters. But there still are some big names out there. You've got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. He's 41 years old. His future is kind of a hot topic. Where does he land? I was talking about this earlier today with a good friend and our co-host Dave. Possibly Pittsburgh as a fit. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan right now. I think Aaron Rodgers is a little over the hill, in my opinion, at age 41. I'm not a big fan of signing quarterbacks that are into their late 30s and into their early 40s, unless you're one guy, and that's Tom Brady. And Aaron Rodgers is close, but he's not Tom Brady. He single-handedly almost wrecked the Jets last year. He's gotten Robert Saleh fired. He went out and wanted them to get Devontae Adams, and that accomplished absolutely nothing. So my take is, if I were a team, I would not even sign Aaron Rodgers. I know that's even crazy to say, but that's just my take. I think he's just bad news, and I wouldn't take him. Chris Godwin did re-sign with the Bucs. You still have the Cowboys out there. I know the Cowboys needed a wide receiver. I know they just made some news here earlier tonight. They signed former Broncos running back Javonte Williams from Denver. Right now they're kind of sitting quietly. It's interesting, though, because CBSSports.com floated the idea with the Cat jumping up to $279.2 million. Jerry Jones could surprise us. And what's crazy is, maybe they swing for a guy like T. Higgins. I know he's been franchise tagged, but if he hits the market via trade, that would be kind of good food for thought. And the Seahawks actually just signed Ernest Jones. But they did, and that is confirmed. They did sign Aaron Jones, the running back, but Ernest Jones is going to the Seahawks. But day one was definitely a interesting one. I think it had a lot more buzz and excitement. Tomorrow is definitely going to be interesting. I think tonight we might see a trade or two, but officially everything kicks off Wednesday at 4 p.m. But the tampering period is already delivering some fireworks. I would really like to know what your favorite moves are so far. Hit me up on X at Chris Knowles NFL. That is my X handle. I definitely want to hear your takes. Tomorrow we're going to break down some more of the latest signings. Plus, we'll take a little bit more of a deep dive into how this shapes up the draft. Until then, keep your eyes on the ticker. This is just the beginning. And thank you for tuning in to the End Zone Experts. I am Chris Knowles, and we will catch you next time.